The team, the Super Eagles, have started training in the capital city of Austria, Vienna, ahead of Wednesday's friendly match against the Czech Republic. All 23 players took part in the session as midfielder Wilfred Ndidi recovered to join the team in training. This will be the last international friendly for the Eagles before the 2018 FIFA World Cup kicks off in Russia. Nigeria lost 2-1 to England in a friendly played on Saturday at the Wembley Stadium in London. Nigeria opened her campaign at the World Cup against Croatia on the 16th of this month. Now joining us from London are two former professional footballers and captains of stationery stores. Incidentally, both of them played for stationery stores and captained stationery stores. Chuks Akuneto first was also with Enugu Rangers, with Dodgy United and Concord FC. And today he is a coaching instructor and mentor with the English FA. Glad to have you join us, Chuks.
It's a pleasure, Solo.
And also joining us is the now manager of Newham United Reserves, Emmanuel Adekunle, a former junior international. Glad to also have you on the breakfast show this morning, Emma. Well, Chuks, you were in Wembley to watch the Super Eagles against England. How do you assess the team?
Yes, it was okay. The Super Eagles did not start very well, but in the second half they came back strongly into it and gave a good account of themselves. So you can say it was fair and it was okay. But there's still a lot to be done.
Well, not a lot of people at home here will agree with you, but Ima, do you agree that the team was okay and fair enough for a team going to the World Cup?
First of all, it was a game of two halves. The first half was so poor, and the second half was a bit better. I think that the reason for the poor performances in the first half was due to players trying to play safe, and I think a lot of incomplacency came in the first half. And in the second half, they came together, they came back together, and they did a great job. And I think if they can, hold on that kind of performances, which they are the one in the second half, I think they will go places.
Staying with you, Ima, now we have the 23 men for the tournament. Some have said Abdullahi Shehu, Joel Obi, Ogenyi Onazi, and probably Brian Idowu shouldn't be part of the team. Do you agree?
Partially, I will agree, and I will agree because if you watch the match against England, you realize that Onazi was nowhere to be found, and I was so disappointed with him because I was thinking that he would be the one that would drive Nigeria forward. But I think the coach has made the right choices, and on this side of these players, the four players you mentioned that are going, I think he made some mistakes, but we'll get better. We'll get better.
Chuks, some are questioning the wisdom of having Brian Idowu, who plays for Amka Perm in Russia. Some say probably sentimental reasons for taking him to the World Cup. Do you think he should be part of that team?
We speculating here, and we're actually questioning the professional competence and capability of the people in charge of it. I think they want to win as well. The people in charge want to better themselves. I want to give a good account. They are all on contracts, and I don't think they will take anyone in their own justification that doesn't need to be there. We might not agree with the selection, but they have been with these players. And I'm not going to judge a player or discard somebody like Onazi based on a performance for 45 minutes. He could have an off day. There might be so many things wrong with the game on the day. It could be formation. It could be information. It could be psychological. It could be lots of things happen. So I'm not going to start jumping on the bandwagon and then questioning why people are being selected. We have 23 able-bodied players that have played through the competition. I think we just need to support them and have a go.
Well, Chooks, aren't you also worried that Echejile appears to be the only left-footed defender in full-back, because Brian is right-footed and he plays in left-back, and Olaina, who incidentally is not a left-back but a right-back, has also been dropped. Aren't you worried that Echejile is the only man on that left-back position?
At Man United played 80% of the season with Ashley Young, who is a right-footed player. On the left side, France played with William Gallas for many years. Chelsea played with a right-footed player on the left-hand side. We have Go Obi in midfield. They can create balance. They can find a way to create balance. The coaches are also experienced, and I think so. We should just give them a chance and support them. They have qualified through the same group of players. They have done well. So now is the time to come together, rally them, and support them. I'm not saying do not bring out those points, but it's almost late now. Let's rally around them, encourage them, and hope for the best.
Well, talking about hope, there's one man who is not hopeful about the team's quality at all. He's a 1980 Nations Cup winner, and he played for the Super Eagles on the left wing, then known as the Green Eagles here in Lagos. Adokie Amiesimaka spoke with us about the way the team should approach the World Cup, while complaining about the team's performance so far. Let's get to hear him. I want you to listen to him as well, and then we'll talk about what we should expect from the Eagles going forward.
We play best when we adopt an attacking formation. Nigeria plays best when we adopt an attacking formation. But when we sit back and want to absorb pressure, we tend to falter and play badly. I hope we're not going to the World Cup with that kind of mindset. We need to adopt an attacking formation, which we're used to. And I keep on saying it. Our strength has always been in flank play.
Now, you had that Dokie there, Chooks. Nigeria plays Czech Republic tomorrow. What's your take on what Adokie said? Because he had very unpleasant things to say about the team that played against Congo Democratic Republic especially.
The Chief Justice, as he was called, is was a great player, fantastic football player. But I would beg to actually differ from some of his points. He talked about playing on the wings, probably because he played on the wing, which is fine. But on in situ now, the coach, you have to look at what you have got in front of you. Where are these players playing? What is the best shape? Because we attacked 20 years ago, we attacked 3 years ago, does not mean we should just attack if we're playing against everyone. I think pragmatism is the order of the day. How have we qualified to that level? Everyone's complaining now about how we should approach the World Cup. Are they with the players every day? Have they actually spoken to the players? Have they discovered anything? So I would just say, let the coaches handle it. Pragmatism. You can't attack everyone every time. You need to choose the best way to bring out the actual qualities of the players that's playing to the very strength. How do these players play in their clubs in Europe? They play differently. So why should we just force a system on players? Because that's what tradition has actually said. So that's why I think let's just go with what's best for this set of players at this point in time.
Well, Emmanuel, what do you think? Chooks talks about what is best, talks about pragmatism, but Adokie says Nigeria thrives better with wing play. What do you think is best? Now that we've seen the 23 players, how do you think Nigeria should play against the Czech Republic tomorrow?
Solomon, like I said on Thursday when we had the discussion on the match against England, I specifically told you that Nigeria play best when we play on the flanks. That is when we perform better. I quite agree with the justice, Adokie Amesimaka. I quite agree with him because even in our qualifiers, we play and get our goals from the flank. Watch all the matches one by one, and you realize that was how we played, and that helped us a lot. And if we keep saying that because of the fact that the man knows what he's doing, he knows what he's doing, he knows how he's going about things, let us look at the results he's getting presently. And let us watch the way the Super Eagles are playing presently. The way they played in the first half on that match against England was so disappointing that even at the stadium, people want to leave the stadium early because that is not Nigeria national team. That's when Adokie said we need to attack from the flank. We play best when we play from the flank. I quite agree with him because that is the Nigerian Super Eagles team.
Well, Tyrone Ebuehi didn't play through the qualifiers for Nigeria. Simeon Nwankwo of Crotone didn't also play in the qualifiers. These two players seem to have get crashed into the team. Well, Tyrone is 19 years. Simeon Nwankwo, well, not taking anything away from him. How do you think that these players who did not labor through the qualifiers, their presence in that squad is going to affect team play and team spirit?
Like we all know, this is World Cup. This is World Cup. We need our best players to get to the World Cup. It doesn't matter if they play in the qualifier, if they get crashed any party, but all we need is to get the best legs we have to the World Cup, and to see how they can bring, to see what they can bring to the team. If they can bring positives to the team, then why not? Let us have them. Let them, fortify the team and get. For me, I still believe, I still hope that we can get to the quarter semi-finals because of the second half performances against England.
Well, Chooks, Imai is talking about quarter-final performance. The target by the Nigeria Football Federation is the semi-final. Realistically, do you think this band of players, this gang, can go, well, maybe not as semi-final, the quarter-finals?
It is good to have hope, and it is right, because if you don't have hope, you don't have anything. But on these players, again, you just mentioned Obuehi. He is 19. He's just played under 10 caps. We've got a back four, that Leon Balogun probably 24 caps. You've got some of them 12, 14, 13 caps. Keeper is a new player. I do not think that at the level that they are now, that the pressure and they have the know-how to compete at the highest level in world football. So I would say if they get out of our group, which is going to be a tough call, it's going to be a long shot. If they get out of the group, they have done well. We are complaining about how they played against England, that they didn't play well. And on the other break, we were talking about quarterfinals and then semi-finals. How does that happen overnight? So I just think let's get to the second round. It's a very young team. Look at the average age. Look at the experience. How many of them have been to a World Cup? How many of them have played in Champions League? How many of them have played at the big clubs in Europe? So how do we actually say we are ready to challenge at the top of the World Cup? I'll say no.
So you do not expect the Super Eagles to get out of Group D in Russia, Chooks?
I hope they actually get out of it. If we go back to the game on Saturday, it was evident in the first half that we are not very experienced, because there were definite problems that were happening on the pitch due to the formation and the information, and we couldn't sort it out as a group till they went out at halftime. And it's also interesting to know that in the first half we played with 2 wide men and a centre forward, and we played 3 midfielders, because we played the Nigerian way against an England team that went 3-5-1. They had 4 midfielders, and Sterling was dropping there to make 5. So we couldn't play the ball, we couldn't pass it. It was in the second half that we played well. We actually went 3-5-2, which is not a Nigerian in context formation. So we played better in a formation that was correct to solve the apparent problem in front of us, which comes back to the former question about pragmatism. So you don't fight every battle in the same way. If somebody is placed in front of you, you find a way to neutralize and to overcome our position every time.
Well, Chooks, let me hold you on the rounding off now, Ima. Do you agree that Nigeria, well, you are hopeful that Nigeria will get to the quarterfinal, but your mind, that's your heart, because maybe because you are Nigerian, but looking at the team, do you realistically think so?
Of course, Solomon. Of course, I am. I'm very realistic about this issue, and you can say whatever, but from the performances that I've seen the Super Eagles in the qualifiers, and the one I've seen in the second half of that England match, the one I see against Atletico Madrid, I think all they need is just to concentrate, not to lose their heads, and we'll get there. We will get there. We have the talent. We have the manager is also good, and like Mr. Chuk said, that we played 4-1 something in the first half. I don't believe that. I don't believe in any of those formations.
All right.
I believe in the system. Nigerian system is always 4-3-3. That's when we play, and that is when we play better.
All right. Thank you.
In every competition that we've been, we've played better when we attack from the flanks, and that I stand on, and that will get us to the quarter semi-finals in Russia.
All right, let's all be hopeful. Emmanuel Adekunle there says he's hopeful Nigeria will get to the quarters and maybe to the semi-final. But Chooks disagrees, and he says, well, if we manage to get out of the group, good for us. Thank you so much, Chooks Akuneto, coaching instructor and mentor with English FA, and Emmanuel Adekunle, manager of Newham United Reserves in London.